All right. Sometimes, whenever we get into situations, we have some fun with it. This is the underside of my wife's kitchen sink in here, and she was requesting some plastic boxes, which she's bought in several kinds of plastic boxes. Most of them didn't fit. To try and get it, I tried to convey that. Anyway, she had all this stuff stored back in here in this area around all the pipes, and she kept bumping the drain pipe and knocking it out of alignment by cramming stuff back in there. And we were having a leak. So after cleaning this out 3 or 4 times, I said, okay, enough of that nonsense. And so I built just a plywood box. It's just like a shield that just slides in. It's kind of a C shape, and it protects the plumbing from getting banged around in there. So hopefully that will stop knocking the drain pipes out of alignment. And anyway, so that gave us a situation where she needed some room to put stuff in. And I was suggesting that some of this go into some of the back closets, for storage. But anyway, she wanted to keep it all here. So she's the winner, and I am the waymaker. Anyway, so I needed something to do it. So she's, can you make me a box? So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. And so I built a box that's 21 inches from here to here, 21 inches tall, 21 inches wide, which is the width of this, and it will slide in here, and it will take and give me 4 cubicles where this stuff should fit in there. And so yeah, so there we go, and that's kind of what we got going on, and we'll see how that goes. And I'll go out in the shop and we'll have a look at it. All right, that's one of the boxes that came out of there. These are some of the boxes that she ordered for down in there. Amazon's a great thing. Anyway, so I'm seem to be collecting some boxes that are going in here. So anyway, so those are some totes and different things. So she wanted something that would house all that. So that's when I came up with this design. And this is 21 inches by 21 inches, and it's 10 inches deep. So this should slide right in front of that thing and allow for stuff to be stored in there. So be all handy. She won't have to dig into it, and it will protect the plumbing on there. This is made with tabs in the sides, and of course it's box jointed, and very strong box made out of 1/4 inch ply, and I have not sanded it. It's just as rough, come out of the clamps like that last night, and just waiting for it to be sanded. And it's relatively light, but it's solid. Box joints are very solid. And then, of course, just a couple days ago, I also made another sanding box to take to tonight's event for crafting. And so, in this box, when I was making it, I had a little challenge on my tabs. I didn't quite get them just right, so I since then modified the plan so the next ones would cut out to where they're going to fill that up. But that's not that big a deal. But I mean, they're still strong. But anyway, and then also clean this little place up here and made it a little thinner so it's not quite as wide. And that's what's cool about CNC work, Inspire. So anyway, I'll get that sanded and we'll get that in there. Let's go in there and look at how I made that in Inspire. All right, this is the inner sink box that I was making, and since I'm tiling this, I use the tiling tool, Path Manager, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, this required a front with 4 cubicles in it, and a cross piece, side 2. And this is the top or bottom, and this is actually one of the sides, and this is the other side. So this is like 2 parts. You'll cut this twice. This will be cut once. The back will be cut one, and then these are the dividers, which you'll cut this tile one time, so you come up the 2 pieces. Pretty straightforward on how it went together. I used the box gadget when I first started it. Went down to that and created the boxes to the size of the box, the width of the box, and the depth. Sometimes you have to move these around depending on which one you want to be the back. So that could be the back, that could be the back, this could be the back, whatever. So sometimes you got to move the numbers around to get it to the right set. One of the important things is my allowance on my joint being tight. I told to give it a 0.02 in inches. That will give it enough of a fit where you don't have to pound them together and tear the things up. And then the joint width was 1 inch, and it's going to create all 6 sides and then all that. It's going to be a finger joint, tab lid, and pretty straightforward. Worked great. And this tool has been modified by Shark Cutup so that it works real well. If I click OK, it would create all those box joints and put them all in here as well on a new sheet. And basically what it does, it creates all 6 sides. And then I go in here and I say, okay, these are all going to be mirrored. So these 2 would be mirrored. This would be original. This would be an original. So in other words, they need to be same. And then these 2 here. So I got rid of the extra 2 parts here in this and just cleaned it up. And then we just cut it twice and that kind of thing. So whenever it gets done, it creates your tool path for your cutout. And it goes around there and cuts these all out. And this is just going to be 1/4 inch birch plywood. And I basically told it to cut through my material to a 0.26 into my spool board. And it's going to be doing 2 cuts. And it's cutting on the outside of it. And that's how that tool is being used. And quick close on that one. Go up here to the layer. It keeps track of Shark Cutup made it to where it's creating the cutout and the box on 2 different layers. So let's go in here and just turn these off. And then you got just what you're going to see in this one right here. So go ahead and move this over here. Okay. So in your layers, that's the parts that you have. And then this is the box, turn it off. So that's just your tool path for cutting out in that. And of course, the way to tell which is a tool path is the one with the little dog bone in it. That's your tool path. And you can see right now this needs to be recalculated because it's not fitting that. So let's go ahead and tell it to recalculate. And so there we go here. And that's kind of interesting. Okay, now it's fitting there. This one here, I had, kind of interesting why that's doing that. This one's right. That one's not right. Wonder what's going on. They cut out fine. And that's the first time I really zoomed in on it to kind of look at it. Let's go ahead and turn it all on there and just look at it. Very interesting. Maybe when I was doing all that, it wasn't recalculating everything. So let's just tell it to recalculate. See what happens. Very interesting. That's a new one for me. Anyway, I'll investigate that a little bit later on, see what's going on with it. But anyway, the box did come out fine. You saw it outside, and it was good. And basically I went in here and created my tabs, my slots, and all that good stuff. And let's turn off our box, turn off our text, and then turn off our shelf. And these are your dividers. Looks like everything's on my dividers level, so I need to clean up my layers a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so let's go over here and turn off the tool paths just so that it doesn't get that. And the last thing I did is I modified these a little bit. I had these just a little bit. Looks like I have an extra vector in there. But anyway, I modified these and extended them 1/4 inch last night, so I haven't cleaned up my deal. It looks like I got a little stuff in here as well that I need to clean up. So let me go ahead and get some of that done and cleaned up because it's bugging me. Anyway, the box came out just fine. It worked out good. And with me jacking with it last night, I haven't got it all back together, so we'll get that going. Okay, I went in here and I looked at what I was doing. And for some reason, I probably on my alignment, I didn't have it all centered. And so I recentered all my tool paths on everything, and that brought everything back into it. But anyway, when I was talking about the dog bones, this is the one with the dog bones are the ones that the tool actually cuts. This is the box that it creates that from the gadget. So whenever I was designing these and getting them lined up, I turned off the tool path, the cutout part, so that it didn't show up. And then, so when I was working over here, let me turn off the tool path so it doesn't bother me. So when I was doing my layout, I just had the one line there to mess with it, which was the box, which that made it easier. And so anyway, kudos to Sharp Cutup on putting that on different layers, because the original one puts them all on the same layer and that kind of thing. So anyway, worked out good. And all I've got to do is sand that box up. And I don't know if I put a little white paint on it for her, or she'll just take it as is and try to sand it. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm working on. And